I'm Travis Brungardt with Catalyst Construction here in Prairie Village, Kansas. And today I'm with Chris Fein, lead architect. Is that the right title for you, lead architect? You get all sorts of names.
Whatever you want to call me.
At Forward Architecture and Design here in Kansas City. We're excited to have the opportunity to work with you on this project. You do a lot of modern stuff, which we have not done a ton of. It was a neat opportunity for us to kind of work through a little bit of this with you. Although you pretty much had the home design by the time we got involved, we did have some integrated design meetings. And I just wanted you to talk through that a little bit.
Well, right. So we had a pretty strong aesthetic coming from the homeowner. They wanted to make a house that appeared to be mid-century, if that's what we want to call it, and also fit a smaller scale than the original scale of the neighborhood. Okay. So we had kind of gotten there and to a point, and then you came on board, and Catalyst has your reputation for energy efficiency and sustainability issues, which we're also very interested in, but we're not building science guys, we're design guys and architecture guys. So this kind of ability to work back and forth about all sorts of details and how to achieve the kind of look and aesthetic that we were trying to achieve while still meeting those performance criteria was actually and has been a really fun process, because a lot of the time in projects it's either or. And so we've found a lot of high efficiency projects that look like it and a lot of design projects that look like it, and finding a way to kind of mediate these two together has been really kind of exciting and fun for us, and hopefully we can continue to do it. So
for sure.
And it's like the roof detail is one of the ones that we've been working back and forth with, because our goal was to kind of achieve a really thin eave profile that doesn't kind of look like a 14-inch sandwich up there. And so architecturally, right, we're already tapering and shifting the rafter tails to get down, but we want to do a vented roof and find the efficiency, and that's where all the fun has been, back and forth, trying to find a way to achieve both, right? And I think we've gotten there.
I think so. I think we put in a lot of time.
5 or 6 iterations.
That's right. We didn't get it right on the first time, but we have arrived at a really successful strategy that I think is going to serve the durability and performance goals that we really favor, and also achieve the original aesthetic of your design. So right. I think the client's happy, and that's the ultimate goal. So everybody wins.
Right. High performance looks like it's a normal building, doesn't look like it's anything special, which is always, that's kind of modernism, right? You want it to look like it's easy, but to make it look easy is actually really difficult and takes 4 or 5 steps, because if anything's not right, it screams attention, right? And so this how do we get it was perfect.
I will say this is probably the first time that I have seen so many cuts to finish a rafter tail. To achieve that narrow fascia profile, usually we would do it over roof with a secondary structural member or a truss. There's a lot of different ways to skin the cat. This way, though, really does have sort of a special feel to it. And so I like that, and I have enjoyed working with you on it. We should probably describe what makes this detail work, why, you mentioned the small fascia profile, but what else was the driving force? Like, did you determine your overhang based on shading or scale, or talk us through
that? Is, yeah, we have a large overhang on both sides. This is really the north side, so we didn't need as large of one. But we have large expanses of windows on the south side, on the other side of the house, which drove the kind of overhang dimension, so that in the summertime we're getting maximum shading. And then what we really want is we wanted the kind of a thin profile that matched other mid-century houses, right? So you don't want it to look like it was built. In a way, we wanted it to look like who knows when it was built, right? This house has always been here and part of the neighborhood. And part of that was quite frankly, they used 2x6 roof joists, and so you could get a much thinner eave condition at that period of time. And so we found a way to this kind of taper within the heavier roof condition that allows us to get thinner. But then there's always the problem with the deck on the eave being something that, if it's just your standard 3/4 roof decking, when they nail the shingle, it pops through and you get nail blowout on the whole underside of the fascia. So we had to actually have an extra step.
Yeah, we should walk through. Yeah, I got to do the nuts and bolts. Yeah. So what we have is a 2x12 rafter that's continuous from top of wall all the way to the ridge. We taper it down to a 3.5-inch end of rafter. The bottom side is cut. The top side is not. We have the 3/4 tongue and groove material on top of the exposed rafter tail from the back side of the sub fascia all the way up to the wall.
Right.
Then inboard of the wall, we are dropping to a 1/2-inch roof sheathing. So we're now out of plane.
Right.
What we modified, what we worked together to
Right.
achieve is less labor. We want to be able to tape our wall to our roof sheathing.
Right.
And so having that break there is a huge win for us. And it doesn't really matter if they're out of plane because we're going to vent this roof
Right.
with basically a back vented channel
Right.
and a second layer of decking on top of that. So what we end up with then is the tongue and groove from subfascia to wall, then 1/2-inch normal roof sheathing from wall to ridge, and then we tape it all, and then put a furring strip, 1.5-inch furring strip on top of the sheathing, and only 1.25-inch furring strip on top of the soffit material. And now we're planed out, and we can add that secondary layer of decking by leaving the soffit material back from that.
Gives us our vent,
Exactly.
which then allows the whole thing to.
And now we vent the ridge like a normal roof. So all the building science stuff I'm super excited about, and we worked through all that, but we've still met your aesthetic because you can't see that behind the 1x6 fascia.
Well, and from our perspective, the best thing is that we met the aesthetic, we eliminated steps in labor, and in that elimination, we were able to actually solve other problems, and therefore you're actually multitasking. The architectural detail is actually solving a performance criteria simultaneously, which is actually a better end result because they're both working together. Now, there's other ways to do it, but somehow when you get them to work together, then it becomes a system, and that system is what then makes this house special, I think.
That's the sweet
So-
spot. I've really enjoyed working through it with you. I know our framing crew was really appreciative of the opportunity to have a voice at the table. Not
was a
every
great
firm
meeting.
is that way. So we've enjoyed that aspect of it. And even though I'm not a huge mid-century guy, I'm loving this house. The big windows work, all the design features that you've integrated that I was like, oh, it's going to be really hard. It's so worth it. So I just wanted to thank you.
It's been
a real
fun.
pleasure.
Well, it's just one of many.
I look forward to solving more problems with you in the future.
I'm sure there will be some.